contest tonight. For Syracuse, Felicia Leggett-Jack in her first season at the helm of Syracuse, previously spent 10 at Buffalo, the all-time winningest coach in program history. It's the second ever meeting between Syracuse and Bucknell, so pull out those holiday leftovers and buckle up for a good one. Dariauna Lewis and Emma Schaefer for the tip, 6-1 against 6-2, and Syracuse wins it back to Asia Strong. The orange set up in the right end. Dyaisha Fair with the basketball and the rest of Syracuse's starting lineup. Dariauna Lewis pulls, leaves it short. Rebound Schaefer.
That shot right there, too. You want to see Lewis drive that before just taking that shot. Get a little bit more ball movement before Syracuse just goes with that early jump shot.
First offensive possession today for Bucknell, and Collins with the easy bucket. Here's a look at the rest of the Bison starting five. Collins certainly the headliner, and she opens the scoring for both teams. 2-0 Bucknell.
It's no surprise, too. She leads this team in points per game with 11.8 for the Bison. She's so talented and gifted, and only a sophomore on this roster, too, John.
Team leader in scoring, preseason All-Patriot performer. Open look for Remy Sisselman, off the heel, no good. Easy rebound for Lewis. Syracuse seeking its first field goal, the fans awaiting that. Lewis drives, puts up a wild shot, nowhere near good. So 3 trips offensively for Syracuse, all come up empty.
A little too unbalanced off that shot, too. You want to see her get strong on her feet.
Sisselman, nice take to the rack. Scoop shot falls through.
And that's one thing to note, too. Sisselman did not play in the first, well, she did play, didn't score in the first 3 games of the season, but coming off 2 games with 15 and 16 points, she's someone who's going to score and a lot for this Bison offense.
Lewis down low, draws some contact on the way up, and will head to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Oh, no, check that. Before that, stepped out.
Yeah, it looks like her foot right here just goes down the baseline, falls out, and a turnover there from Syracuse.
But Luke, that has to be a promising sign because Lewis took just 3 shots against Penn State. Seemed like SU really didn't go into the paint much.
And that's someone that they need to get to because Lewis has been very productive. She averages a double-double and 12 and 11.3 rebounds per game. If Syracuse wants to be in this game, they got to find Lewis.
Emma Schaefer. Attack from the outside, leaves short, a lefty shot. Now Syracuse in transition with Woolley. Loose ball near the baseline and kept in. Nice defensive play by Isabella King.
And you have to question that move right there for Woolley. The drive kind of got a little side screen right there off the side from Asia Strong. Next time, be more resilient with the basketball.
Look out for King in the offensive end as well. She lays it up and in. Her first 2 points of the game, and Felicia Leggett-Jack needs an early timeout. So Bucknell, school from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, coming into the Wireless Dome and all over Syracuse early. 6-0 lead for the Bison.
To build the all-new Honda CR-V Hybrid, we took everything you love about the CR-V and kicked it up a notch with excellent fuel efficiency and greater power. For a CR-V unlike any before, adventure confidently with the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. The all-new CR-V and CR-V Hybrid, part of the Honda line of rugged vehicles.
Getting the in-laws together for Christmas can be a teensy bit awkward. Just ask Romeo and Juliet. But after saving big with Amazon Black Friday, tragedy was avoided. Yeah, sisters.
On the spot, 10 seconds on the clock, gonna show 'em what we got to offer. If you want, you can make it to the top, gotta focus on the goal. The winner takes all, pass the ball, reach for the stars, no stopping us. Winner takes all, the winner takes all. Gotta keep it moving, running all the time, no time to waste it.
If you do what feels right, then own your style. Philips One Blade. Your style made simple. There's always a way to make life better.
If you thought one napkin for the quarter pounder with cheese was enough, it's not enough.
On December 16th, the motion picture event of a generation arrives.
This is our home!
I need you with me. And I need you to be strong. Strong-heart.
Avatar, The Way of Water. Experience it in 3D. Tickets on sale now.
Well, the struggles from Monday night must have carried over for Syracuse. Meanwhile, Bucknell has come into the JMA Wireless Dome and put on a clinic early.
3 buckets early, 3 different players scoring. It shows great distribution early on from the Bison, and for Syracuse, just not being able to score the basket.
6-0 start for the Bison. 3 different scorers getting involved. The first basket going to Cecilia Collins. Now Syracuse looking for a response. The Orange Faithful still standing, awaiting Syracuse's first basket.
This is already a better possession right now, John, because they're moving the basketball around the perimeter. It's not just chucking up a shot, it's getting it distributed around to each player.
Man-to-man defense from Bucknell. Short time on the clock. Feed inside, taken away. Cecilia Collins with the intercept.
Yeah, that was just a great job from her, using her vision and her eyes.
Collins triggers a 3, misses off right. But she's got all the confidence in the world right now.
This is where Syracuse needs to settle, find something stationary.
Asia Strong tries her luck from distance. Too much. Georgia Woolley fights for the rebound, and that's a foul on Bucknell.
You love to see that hustle, too, from Georgia Woolley. It's one of the things that she brings to this Syracuse team. She comes in, grabs that rebound, using that height to her advantage at 6 feet tall for the Orange, and gives them another opportunity at scoring their first bucket of the game.
First foul against the Bison. Fresh 20 on the shot clock for the Cuse. Dyaisha Fair. Can she open the scoring? She can!
That's why she's the leading scorer on this team. She's so lethal when she gets inside, and she's got great hops inside where she's able to get that shot to fall.
Fair coming off back-to-back 20-point performances. Scored in double figures in every game this season for Syracuse. Great start for Bucknell's offense, a team that averages just about 51 points per game. With 6 already, Collins drives inside and finishes.
It's the perfect start to this team because that's one thing Coach Woodruff said is they need to score more than 50 points. First 3 games, no more than 50. So for them to be off hot like this, that's a great start for the Bison.
Asia Strong working against 2 defenders. Righty hook, too much. The Orange off to a pretty inefficient start. 1 of 6 from the floor.
Just seems like, as we mentioned before, the woes from that game against Penn State still haven't worn off.
Schaefer with a turnover. Dyaisha Fair takes it away. 2-on-2 break for the Cuse. Back pass to Kyra Wood. She wasn't ready for it.
It goes to that compliment and also something not so great for Dyaisha Fair. That's her 15th steal on the season and now her 13th turnover. She does a really good job getting her hand in front of the basketball and turning into offense, but just got sloppy with it on the other end, leading to that turnover.
And she picks up her first foul there. Rough start for Felicia Leggett-Jack and company. 8-2 lead for Bucknell. Now 4 Syracuse turnovers. Blake Matthews drives, swatted away by Wood.
My goodness, using that length to her advantage there, said not in my house.
Wood 6'3", an impressive frame and a transfer from Temple. Played just 1 minute against Penn State, but making an early defensive impact.
She's going to be someone you're wanting to get the basketball because she can score at will. It just depends on if she gets the basketball.
Teisha Hyman on stilts. Can't get the friendly bounce. It sat on the front rim. And Blake Matthews corrals the rebound. Transition opportunity. Sisselman for three. Rims out.
Good spot up three-point shot from Sisselman. It just didn't go her way, but those are the type of shots you want her to keep taking.
Fair pogo sticks, misses off right. And an offensive foul against Syracuse.
Syracuse foul line at number 15, Asia.
The Orange scoreless in the last 2 minutes of play, just 1 for 8 from the field.
You're seeing them slow it down, though, with the basketball, which is a good thing that you can tip your hat towards. But Syracuse hasn't found that in-system play that they did those first 4 games of the season, and just continuing to struggle on that offensive side of the ball.
Well, defense is what Bucknell predicates itself on under head coach Trevor Woodruff. Top 20 in the nation each of the past 3 seasons. All 3 that Woodruff's been at Bucknell in defense.
Just done a really good job of causing turnovers and making teams feel unease when they're playing.
Euro step, Collins to the rack, easy finish.
My goodness, she's just so skilled down the lane. It just feels like nothing really gets her off that horse. She's just so consistent and continues to find a way to score at will.
10 points last time she was on the floor against Dyaisha, 6 already. And Wood carries. The turnovers continue to pile on one another. And a rough start for Syracuse just continues.
Well, when you look at the numbers too, John, that game against Penn State, 19 turnovers. It's one of the bigger reasons why Syracuse really lost that game in the second half. You need to do a better job of having a strong handle on the rock, not allowing someone to strip it, and allow yourself opportunities to actually score.
Blake Matthews open straight away. Left it just short. Bucknell, not a terrific three-point shooting team, just 32%. That's 4th in the conference. What an offensive foul.
And Hyman looking at that too, a little bit starstruck off that one. She's asking our official here, maybe there was a push off a little from that left arm dribbling. Tough call. But another offensive foul from Syracuse that leads to an opportunity for Bucknell.
And she struggled with the infractions against Penn State. Picked up 5 in that contest. Was good offensively, though, 19 points, which marked the season high. An early trip to the bench for the guard. Now Bucknell back to work offensively. Sisselman trying to slip by Strong. Instead hands the keys over to Kaleja. Dish inside and a turnover.
That's great defense, too, from Kyra Wood. Getting that pressure down low and not allowing that pass to come in so easily onto the block. As long as they got bodies on bodies, Syracuse will do a much better job on the defensive end, forcing those type of turnovers.
Elena Rice into the game for Syracuse. Had a couple of threes in the loss to Penn State. Feeds inside to Strong. Fights through a couple defenders, doesn't fall. Woolley an offensive rebound, takes a couple extra steps. She can't finish. Now the Bison in transition.
It was a great job from Syracuse of not giving up on that play, but just not being able to finish at the rim has been a little bit of their kryptonite over these past few games.
The scoring drought now over 4 minutes for the Cuse. An 8-point deficit nearing the end of the first quarter. Short time for Blake Matthews. Splits a double team, loses control, and throws it out of bounds. Great defense from SU.
The pressure was there. It was ignited from Syracuse. You're starting to see a little spark from this defense. The unfortunate part is it's not converting into offense right now. Syracuse has been one of the best teams with turnovers leading to points, but it just hasn't happened yet in this one.
The Orange also struggling in the half court. Let's see if that can change on this possession. It's a squad that averages about 80 points per game. Ranks top 50 in the nation. Fair lines up a 3 off left. Rice tiptoes the sideline for the offensive rebound. The Orange reset with Asia Strong. Now Elena Rice. Into the lane, runs right into the heart of the Bucknell defense.
Just had active hands ready to go. They're not waiting for the ball to come to them. Bucknell is just reaching, grabbing for that basketball, and having great defense right now.
Collins dishes. Outside for Sisselman. Still no threes in this contest. Now the Orange in transition. Fair to the rack, up and in.
Just a beautiful toss up the court from Georgia Woolley. She kept her eyes up, saw the streaking Dyaisha Fair, and those are points made in transition, which Syracuse does a fantastic job of from their squad.
Woolley averages 2 assists per game, the 2 games she has played this year. Nice feed there to get SU back on the board. Tough look inside for Grace Sullivan. Kicks it back outside. Open look Collins, didn't take it, and she traveled in the process.
When things start to turn, they go on both sides of the ball, John. Syracuse makes a great play on offense, another one here on defense. We'll see if the good luck can continue to work for Syracuse, as besides that first Dyaisha Fair basket, it was scoreless for such a long time.
Substitution for Bucknell. Kaylee Rinbo into the game. Wood takes a feed, puts a shot up, fouled in the process. The Orange going inside for some offense. And Kyra Wood with a couple of opportunities from the charity stripe.
We love to see that aggressive basketball, too, from Wood there. When she starts up at the free throw line, great dish inside from Elena Rice, and she just says, I'm not going to be stopped at the basket. No, it didn't fall, but it's at least 2 opportunities at the line.
Wood just 3 for 7 from the free throw line so far this season, 43%. Knocks down the first.
But she's one of the best players on Syracuse. She just doesn't see the ball as much. Before that last shot, just 9 attempts on the season. Someone that, as we mentioned before, transferred from Temple, one of 7 on this team. She is very skilled.
Picked Temple over Buffalo, actually, coming out of high school because she wanted to get away from home. Now she is playing for the former Buffalo head coach, Felicia Leggett-Jack. She goes 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Final possession of the first quarter. Bucknell looking to pad its lead. Ty Johnson, feed underneath. And the under the basket layup, no good. So a great first quarter for Bucknell. The Bison lead 10-6. Enjoying a great performance coming off the Thanksgiving holiday yesterday. We'll see if SU has any answers in the second quarter. I have it for you right after the break.
And that's why they've been so good, but also surprising to not be picked in that top 3.
Bucknell 116 in the Patriot League since that 2015 season. So consistent dominance, and it's carried over here in the first quarter. As we begin the second, Bison on top of the Orange 10-6. Short time for Bucknell. Collins fakes a 3. Now pulls from the left elbow. Off right. Offensive rebound for Bucknell. Grace Sullivan grabbed it underneath the rim, but then traveled. Freshman mistake from the 6'4 forward.
One thing, if I'm Syracuse too, I'm frustrated with that offensive rebound because Grace Sullivan had 4 defenders around her and she still pulled down the rebound. The Orange have to do a better job of corralling through the basketball.
Dyaisha Fair off with her first opportunity of the second quarter, but last touch by Bucknell, so it stays with Syracuse. What do the Orange need to do differently in the second quarter, Luke, to put some points on the board?
Do a better job of having a strong handle on the basketball. 7 turnovers just in that first quarter, and not really scoring because their offense has been in shambles. So having good in-system play and not turning the ball over.
The Orange just 2 for 13 from the field as well. Culminates in 6 points. The lowest scoring quarter for Syracuse since February 17th against Virginia Tech. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Woolley, last second opportunity, rims out.
It was a good find to her with the shot clock running down, but it's just the bad luck that keeps rolling for Syracuse on the offensive end.
Dyaisha Fair owns 4 of Syracuse's points. She's 2 for 5. The rest of the team, 0 for 9. Another miss from range from Bucknell. That was Isabella King. Fair, off balance, doesn't matter. She's so nifty.
She's the sole reason why Syracuse was within this game by 2 points. She has 6 of the 8. She's so lethal when she gets inside, and finishing off that contact, that's incredible.
The Orange coming out of the first quarter huddle, cut the deficit to 2, and a long scoring drought for Bucknell. Kaylee Rinbu, skip pass to Collins, another fake. Woolley falls for it, and she scores. Too easy for Cecilia Collins.
Collins is just so good at slicing up that 2-3, going right at the heart of it.
Well, the track meet continues. Dyaisha Fair back the other way in the snap of a finger.
Her speed is second to none. She goes from that side of the court to the other in snap of a finger, really, and that's one thing that makes her game so strong is the quickness and her ability to get from one end to the other.
Collins with 8 points, Fair with 8 as well. The 2-point guards going punch for punch. She has it far wing, sets up a 3, missed it badly.
Luckily for Syracuse, the 3-point shots are open for Bucknell, they're just not hitting them.
Fair again, calls her own number and sinks it.
Wow. I'm just almost starstruck at this point for how good she is. She comes from Buffalo, being a MAC freshman of the year, 4th in the nation for points per game. She comes to this team and has just been an outspoken leader, a captain, and doing everything right on the offensive side.
3 straight buckets for Dyaisha Fair, putting the orange on her back. Near turnover. The Bucknell sticks with it. Now numbers for the Bison. Collins from the corner. Too much. Now 0 for 8, Bucknell from downtown. The orange in the counterattack. Fair, step back. Got it! Have a second quarter, Dyaisha Fair. She's on fire.
Why not go to number 2 right now? She's the only one scoring, so keep giving it to her.
Fair owns 12 of Syracuse's 14. On the baseline to Collins, and she walked. So all Syracuse so far in the second quarter, and Dyaisha Fair has a lot to do with that.
Just look at the versatility of her game down low. Just a fantastic job with the finish. Beautiful step back off 2 feet, nothing but twine. She is just too hot to handle right now.
Fair scored 20 points with 4 3-pointers against Bucknell last season where she suited up for Buffalo. Already halfway to accomplishing that once again. The Orange looking for other scores. Perhaps Dariauna Lewis. Nope. Off the heel, no good. So the rest of Syracuse's starters still struggling.
One thing that's interesting to me, too, is their second leading scorer for this Bucknell team is Emma Schaefer as she gets it on the block. Hasn't seen much of her so far in this one.
Good pass there, but no finish from King. The Orange quickly the other way. Down low for Strong. Hook shot falls. Good evening, Asa Strong.
That's what we talked about in that pregame, is the fact that she's so good off the block. She's got great post moves, turn and spin, and just lethal with that right-hand hook.
Coming off an 11-point, 9-rebound performance against Penn State as Blake Matthews hits a mid-range jumper.
Blake Matthews is someone that Coach Woodruff is very happy about. Just as a freshman this year, getting a lot of playing time early on, and she's coming off a good game against Iona in that win where she was 5 points, 3 rebounds.
Both season highs, but Dyaisha Fair well on her way to a season-high performance tonight. Her first 3 of the contest.
I'm not sure if you have to triple team her, what you have to do right now if you're Bucknell, but Dyaisha Fair has the Heat emblem around her 2K player right now because she is just shooting lights out.
The Orange 6 of their last 7 from the floor. Schaefer, wild turnaround shot, doesn't fall. While the Orange haven't exactly had answers for Cecilia Collins, they have for her thus far, Emma Schaefer. Strong, knifes into the lane. Hook shot too much. Fights for her own rebound, but steps out in the process.
You love seeing that too, the fact that she never gives up on the play.
First quarter not so good for Syracuse, but the Orange off to an excellent start in quarter number 2. Dyaisha Fair firing on all cylinders, spearheading this Syracuse offense. It's a 5-point lead for the Cuse midway through the second. Dyaisha Fair has her fingerprints all over this second quarter. She owns 15 of Syracuse's 19 points in this contest as the Orange lead by 5 midway through the second quarter. Luke, she drew a lot of headlines coming in from Buffalo, and with great reason. She's showing exactly why all that hype was much deserved in this performance.
Well, this season, 5 games played before this, each one in double digits. She's a player that when she gets in rhythm, it's hard for her to stop. And unfortunately for Bucknell, she's just like this in every single game that she plays.
10 points in the first quarter for Bucknell, just 4 so far in the second. Let's see what kind of adjustments the Bison can make. Short time on the shot clock. Schaefer back to the basket. Lefty hook shot, air ball. Great defense by Sanaya Wilson.
And Bucknell's trying to go with that high post up top from that elbow to run the offense through Emma Schaefer, because she can also dish it, but she's also pretty quick towards the basket, but just better defense from Syracuse in that man-to-man coverage.
Fair steps back, finds some space, and scores!
It's just too much at this point. I'm just not even surprised at this point. You're up to 18 points. It's not even halftime. Oh, is it a season high 22 points? Not even to that midway mark yet, John.
Already with 18. Her career high is 40 from her time at Buffalo. She could certainly surpass that today. Finally, Bucknell on the board from downtown. Isabella King, that's her forte.
And one thing that Coach Woodruff said is, we asked him, what's one word that comes to mind when you think of Isabella King? He said, shooter. You saw it right there with that big-time three-point shot, great swing pass, and if she gets going, Bucknell can get back in this one.
32% shooter on the season is King, as Fair gets a friendly bounce. She just can't do anything wrong in this second quarter.
The ball just loves her. If you really want to break it down to that, you got 2 bounces and it still falls. I'm not saying that that's not skill, but luck is certainly on her side.
Lead up to a touchdown for Syracuse. The Orange playing great defense as well. Fair, foot on the throttle. Kick out for Teisha Hyman, who's been pretty quiet so far for Syracuse, back in the game. Mid-range floater, that falls. Maybe that'll get her confidence going. Trevor Woodruff needs timeout for Bucknell. Syracuse all over the Bison in this second quarter. Syracuse getting contributions from a lot of different hands in this second quarter, but Dyaisha Fair been really the mainstay for the Cuse. But the Orange will benefit greatly if Teisha Hyman can get going. She's the second leading scorer for this Syracuse team. And a nice take there.
She's coming off 19 points against Penn State, but the problem with Hyman has a little bit been those turnovers.
How about this? To put into perspective how good Fair has been in this first half, she owns 20 points. That's more than Bucknell has put up as an entire team. And that's crazy because that's typically what Fair will do in one contest as a whole, averaging 18 points per game, already with 20.
It's basically been 1v5 since the second quarter started. Syracuse just 6 points in that first quarter, but once she started to find that groove, she hasn't felt out of it, and that's why the Orange have this 9-point lead.
Bucknell looking for more answers on offense after a pretty explosive first quarter. 10 seconds on the shot clock. It's with Collins near wing. Tick, tick, tick. King, pick and roll for Schaefer. Righty layup misses. Offensive rebound. Second chance for the Bison, and Collins cashes in. Count the bucket and a foul for Cecilia Collins.
That's one thing that Bucknell hasn't done the greatest of job this season is second chance points, but Collins doesn't give up on the play. Great feed from Emma Schaefer and draws a foul to have an and-one opportunity at the line. The most second chance points that Bucknell has had in the game is just 5. So great job of filling that lane and not giving up.
While Fair's been terrific for Syracuse, Collins has been for Bucknell. She's in double figures now after the free throw with 11 points. Good for more than half of the Bison's output. Fair using a Lewis screen, pulls up, tried to bank it in, but missed. Hyman fighting for the rebound, and she pokes it out of bounds.
What you like to see about that Dyaisha Fair screen right there, she rubs really hard off of it, not allowing her defender to cut through that screen, which gives her a little bit of space to shoot that jump shot. It didn't fall, which is actually very surprising, as everything has for her, but you like the approach that she takes whenever she has the ball in her hands.
Sanaya Wilson to the bench, Asa Strong in along with Kyra Wood, and Dariauna Lewis on the pine as well. Travel on the far side of the floor, another Bucknell turnover. Isabella King taking some extra steps.
You have to put the ball down before you start moving the feet right there. She knew it right away, got a little bit too carried away with it. Next time, Bucknell just has to catch, plant your feet, start looking around to distribute.
That's 8 Bison turnovers, and as a team, Bucknell typically -2 in the turnover margin on a game-to-game basis, which is tied for 249th out of 349 teams in the nation. Fair, step back 3 off, halfway down but didn't fall. Another chance for Syracuse. Final minute, first quarter. Asia Strong puts on the brakes, but can't hit a reverse layup. Matthews grabs the rebound for Bucknell.
Great job inside the lane. Nice turnaround, but just couldn't finish at the bucket. And Syracuse will have to put the pressure on defense here under 40 seconds to go.
Sisselman stops, looking for an outlet, and finds one. Near side for Kuleja. And she misses. A great look for the junior guard, but couldn't sink it. Now Teisha Hyman. The Robin to Fair's Batman. She sinks it.
That's one thing that Teisha Hyman was so good at doing against Long Island, those pull-up jump shot. When she's in the air, it almost feels like every time she's putting it down.
Hyman up to 4 points, her second field goal of the contest. Final chance for the Bison. Sisselman from the corner, no. And a loose ball foul with just 2 seconds left in the first half. Bucknell credited with another infraction, so maybe one more look for the Cuse in the second quarter.
Bucknell's doing a really good job of swinging the ball to open shooters around that perimeter, but the unfortunate part for the Bison is the fact that they're not hitting those three-point shots, and that's something you would expect them to do, shooting 32%.
Woolley from half court leaves it short, and that's how the first half ends. Tough first quarter for Syracuse. Bucknell walked into the seeking his 60th win at Bucknell. First and only women's basketball head coach in the Patriot League to win Coach of the Year in his first 2 seasons, trying to orchestrate a comeback. Dyaisha Fair, 20 points today. And for a big second half, she'll start by assisting, though. Dariauna Lewis, the up and under.
That's exactly what Syracuse wanted in that Penn State game, but they could not find Lewis. Just a great feed down low, off the cut, perfect execution.
First bucket of the contest for the Alabama A&M transfer. Now a 10-point lead for the Orange. Matthews finds some space, rejected.
My goodness.
The Orange in transition, and Lewis fouled on the way up. Shot doesn't go, but how about this spark of energy from the Orange out of the break?
Defense leading to offense as Matthews drives inside. She just says no on that shot, and a great feed and dime to Lewis.
Lewis, the ACC leader in blocks, with about 3 per game, cashes in the first free throw. Her nickname is Stretch, and she certainly stretched all of her 6'1" frame to get that swat.
She just leaps and bounds so high up there, and that's why she's such a good defensive player.
Loose ball tipped out of bounds, last touch by Syracuse, so Bucknell basketball, but got to be a promising sign for Felicia Leggett-Jack and company to see that kind of energy out of the break. A slow first half for Bucknell, just 20 points. The magic number might be 75 because last year the Bison went 23-5 when it reached that number or more. Sisselman for 3, off right. The three-point struggles continue for Bucknell, now 1 for 12.
It's just tough because this is a team that came in shooting 32%. You want to see them continue to strike those threes. They're just not falling.
Lewis gets the roll. Impressive lefty shot from Lewis. Off to a great start in this second half.
We've seen her on defense, now on offense. This is the Syracuse Lewis that we know and have seen from those first 4 games. It's almost like she disappeared against Penn State, but she's back playing her level of ball.
She really did. Just 4 points, 2 for 3, so very limited opportunities. Has 5 in this contest, so already surpassed that number. Matthews picks up her dribble. Finds Collins, the leading scorer for Bucknell. Drives inside, takes some contact, doesn't finish. But the sophomore headed to the free throw line.
She uses that screen exceptionally well, too, from Emma Schaefer. You see her on the block right here, and she just rolls off of it, takes the contact from Strong, and like I mentioned earlier, there's just no fear to Cecilia Collins. She just goes at the rim and is very technical with her shots, too.
Second team All-Patriot last year, the first Bucknell freshman to make any of the 3 All-League teams since 2001 from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where She was a two-time All-Stater and accumulated a 52-0 perfect league record with Scranton Prep.
One thing that Coach Woodruff said about her is that he's never heard her had an excuse about school or anything. She just comes, shows up, and works hard.
Well, she did well to split the pair at the free throw line. Meanwhile, Syracuse working hard on the rebounds. The Orange earned an extra possession.
That was a great fight that time from Lewis down low to keep it Orange possession.
The Orange feeding the hot hand in Lewis. Spins, gets free, puts up a shot, doesn't go. But Dariauna Lewis back to the free throw line. It's clear, whatever the adjustment was in the locker room, it had something to do with 24 and white.
And it's because Lewis is dominating that block against Emma Schaefer. Her post moves are just second to none right now because she's able to move her feet so quickly with the ball, stretching at that frame of 6'1", and it's just so tough to stop for someone that good.
Lewis came to the Hill by way of Alabama A&M, where she was a two-time HBCU All-American. Scored in double figures in 22 of 29 games last year. 3 for 4 this year. This is the second free throw. Schaefer with the board for Bucknell.
It's all about finding that family, too. First year Missouri State, then Alabama A&M, and now she's here with Syracuse. I think she's really found that home in the Orange.
Schaefer 0 for 4 so far, averages over 10 points per game, but yet to score in this contest. Takeaway, Teisha Hyman, full court pass up ahead, the Orange with numbers. Asia Strong, lefty layup, counted and a foul. Turnovers for touchdowns for Syracuse, and an old-fashioned three-point play for Strong.
Active hands from Teisha Hyman, the pass up the court, and then great eyes from Dyaisha Fair down low to Asia Strong, and she's playing to that strength of her last name, bullying on the block as she finishes, and will go for 3 here.
Been relatively quiet in this contest so far from a statistical perspective, but an impressive three-point play. She's up to 5 points, and Syracuse has stretched the lead to 16 early in the third.
Syracuse does a great job turning turnovers into points. 10 points off turnovers against Penn State, 25 against LIU, 25 against Binghamton. They just do a great job in transition off turnovers.
Collins, tough shot, misses. Woolley the rebound for Syracuse. And she walks.
Ooh, you saw that too right when she did it. It was just that slight hesitation from her that made her think about throwing the ball and then went, nope, she's not open. And that's what caught her. The feet went too far without passing it.
Tried to find Dyaisha Fair cherry picking in the offensive end, but forgot to dribble. Now Bucknell back on offense. A team that really looked disciplined in the first quarter, but has since struggled with the turnover bug. 9 on the day for the Bison.
Syracuse just doing a good job on defense. You're seeing that pressure, getting a hand in the face, making it difficult for their ball handlers to make a move towards the lane.
Remy Sisselman, 2 points today, 31 in each of her last 2 contests. Oh, give her 4. That's a tough shot, but an impressive finish by the Long Islander. The Orange push it ahead, and Lewis turns it over. Desperation heave right into the hands of Matthews.
Just unbalanced on that one, turn around, couldn't get it to go.
Collins wide open for 3, can't bury it. Offensive rebound king.
When you're shooting under 8% from three-point range, it's really tough to have yourself in this game, John. Bucknell needs to do a much better job of squaring up those threes. It feels like, even with open space, they're still rushing it.
Collins rejected with short time on the shot clock. That's Dariauna Lewis again.
She just continues to be a menace down low for the Orange as she just, off the block, gets her hand up. She's so good at timing it, too, and not hitting the body.
The Orange with a great defensive display there. Going to turn it into some offense. But they can't. Georgia Woolley, another mistake. Leaves a mid-range jumper short. It's Bucknell basketball. Got to be tough for Woolley, though. Someone that played last week, then took a break, didn't play against Penn State. It's got to be hard to find a rhythm a little bit when you're playing, then taking a game off, then getting back into action.
Well, it's always the question of that bye week. Does it help or does it really hurt a team? And that's the same thing for Woolley. When you sit, you get extra time to rest, but getting back into that rhythm, as you said, is a little bit more difficult as she airballed that shot because there wasn't enough oomph from her legs down low.
Alana Rice replaces her. Strong gambles, nearly forces a turnover, and now the Orange team up for a jump ball. Felicia Leggett-Jack, loves it. Possession arrow favors Bucknell, so it stays in the right end.
A lot of coaches really like when you're more successful on the defensive side than the offensive side, because Syracuse is going all out for these balls right here on the defensive side, and that's got FLGA hyped up.
Well, she considers herself a defensive coach. The Orange playing some defense here. Late shot clock heave. Nowhere near the goal.
Just great defense. Forcing that late second shot with the shot clock rolling down. Everything's going the Orange their way right now because their defense is so dominant.
Dyaisha Fair's been quiet so far in the second half, but anything but in the second quarter. No-look feed underneath from Hyman. But offline with Dariauna Lewis. And that's Bucknell basketball.
It's one of her strengths and greatest weaknesses for Teisha Hyman. She's a very excellent passer, but stuff like that where you're not looking, trying to flip it underhand, it's why she leads this team in turnovers. It's just being careless with the basketball. In that situation, if you don't see the pass, hold on to it, jump stop, look for someone else, because now you just cost your team some points on that possession.
Bucknell breaks the Syracuse pressure. Collins drives, tries to get the angle, draws contact, can't finish on the layup, but Collins back to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Well, the Orange continuing the success from the second quarter, now a 14-point lead for the Cuse midway through the third quarter. The adjustments in the halftime locker room paying off early for the Cuse on this Black Friday. Couple of great coaches and former greats on the basketball floor as well tonight. Felicia Leggett-Jack for Syracuse, former Big East Freshman of the Year, and an assistant coach for Bucknell. Kelly Mazzanti was the Big Ten's all-time leading scorer when she graduated from Penn State in 2004, then went on to be a second-round pick in the WNBA. And she seems like a head coach in waiting. Was an assistant at IUP, part of 5 different 20-plus win seasons, back-to-back trips to the Final Four, and also a member of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame.
When it comes to coaching, too, and being a player, you look up to these type of women that have played the game the right way at an extremely high level, and that's something that gives you a vote of confidence if you're a player on either's team.
So far, it's been FLJ with the upper hand, a 12-point lead for the Cuse after Collins knocks down from the free throw line. Teisha Hyman from 16, no good. Nice rebound by Collins. What adjustments needed to be made in that huddle midway through the third quarter for the Bison to get back in this contest?
It's what we've said all game long. It's being better with the basketball. You're seeing rotations here on the floor right now. Great pass down low because they're getting the ball around.
And Schaefer just cannot buy a bucket. Now 0 for 5 from the floor, still scoreless. The second leading scorer on this Bison team. But Asia Strong connects. That's a two-pointer for the forward. She's up to 7 on the game, and it's a 14-point lead for the Cuse.
4th triple of the season, too. It's something you don't really see a lot from power forwards, but she's got that 3-ball in her resume.
Oh, we got some offense here. King with a response, too. The Orange wasting no time. Strong again. Far side leaves this one short. Alana Rice fighting for the offensive rebound, and she wins. Loose ball foul on Bucknell. And it stays with the Cuse.
It's just not giving up on the play, and this is the second half. Syracuse does have a pretty good, comfortable lead. You're up by 12 right now. You could really mentally tell yourself, I don't have to go for that ball as hard as I would trailing early 10-6, but it's just not giving up on the play. You love seeing that late here in the third quarter.
Part of what Felicia Leggett-Jackson instilled in this program. Fair for 3, her first points of the second half. A new season high for Dyaisha Fair. She's got 23. And it's a big lead for the Cuse.
Coach FLJ pointed at her and said, that's the shot that you take right there. She's just so good from beyond the arc.
Tough look inside for Collins. No finish. Lewis on the foul. Let's look back at that 3 for Dyaisha Fair.
She catches it, kind of loses the handle right here as she bobbles it, but tips it back to herself. She's just so confident in that shot and just buries it. You love seeing that from her, and my goodness, just the swagger that she has on the floor.
ACC newcomer watch list member, Wooden Award preseason top 50 watch lister. Mac Turney MVP 1 year ago when she led Buffalo to the conference championship. She's got all the accolades in the world. Substitution for Bucknell, Emma Schaefer to the bench, Grace Sullivan in, 6'4" forward from Antioch, Illinois, about 60 miles north of Chicago. Been a tough night for Schaefer. Expected a little bit more from her offensively coming in.
Well, she averages the most rebounds on this team and at least some second chance opportunities. She had 15 offensive rebounds. That's what gets your offense some second chance tries.
Lewis up and under layup, no. And I believe she stepped out on the way. It's the second time she's tried that move under the basket, but neither time has it been legal.
She's been incorporated at a much higher rate in the second half, though. All of her points coming here in the third quarter. She's been engaged near the rim and just has tried to get the ball time and time again, which has led to their success here. 6
points for Lewis, but also 4 turnovers. Now she sets up defensively. Collins finds some space, but instead passes and throws it out of bounds. In and out of the hands of Isabella King, and another Bucknell turnover.
You just have to scratch your head at that one, too, because that's a pass that you should make 10 times out of 10, but just a little too high. It just feels like Bucknell is being rushed, and that is credit to this great Syracuse defense.
Fair finally misses a shot. Bit of a heat check for the Buffalo transfer, but the Orange forced a turnover.
Active hand, stayed in the play and didn't let it go.
Cheyenne McEvans, a little bit too much contact, runs right through Cecilia Collins. That's an offensive foul. And it's Bison basketball.
Just can't do that right there down low from McEvans. You're using that arm to push down low. It's one thing if you just have your body straight and your chest facing your defender, but the minute you bring that arm into play, that's when you get into foul trouble.
McEvans, logging her first action in this contest. Sisselman for 3. She leaves it short. And she's had a very tough night. Now 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. Typically a 35% shooter. Hyman around the bend. Gets her right hand free. Oh, what a finish. Teisha Hyman. That was mean.
You know how you say that Dariauna Lewis's nickname is Stretch? Well, she just took her nickname in that play right there. Great extension with the right arm and beautiful finish off the glass.
Known to have a scorer's mentality and the ability to slice through defenses. You saw it right there. Nice response bucket from Grace Sullivan. Her first bucket of the contest.
And she's going to be someone Bucknell relies on through the latter half of this game because Schaefer has not been her usual self. Being a freshman, Sullivan has to stay confident and make finishing plays like that.
Plays about 11 minutes a game. Seen an uptick in play tonight. Lewis rims out from the free throw line. And Bucknell pieced together a run. Hyman, quick hands, forces a turnover, and draws another Collins foul. She can do it on both ends.
And you're seeing the frustration, too, from Cecilia Collins. She claps her hands, she knows it, too, and is upset with that play because that's one that shouldn't be made right there. It's the simplest fundamental. Fake a pass to make a pass. If you project where you're going to go with the basketball, it's so much easier for Hyman to steal that. Just has to be better and stronger with the ball.
Hyman to the free throw line as the Cuse is in the bonus. Sinks the first. 64% shooter on the season. Lone returning starter from last year. An all-ACC honorable mention campaign 1 year ago. 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Lead back to 15 for the Cuse.
One thing you have to credit Teisha Hyman with, too, is the fact that she's kind of given the keys over to Dyaisha Fair to really lead this team. And that's tough to do, being the person, the it player, the it factor a season ago. And she's handled that really well and still scores at quite a rate.
King for 3. That's her second of the night. Well, Bucknell needed that. A shot in the arm for the Bison. Back down 12. Hyman, mid-range floater. In a split second.
Just a quick response, too, from the Orange. That was a great three-point shot from King. where this Bucknell team as a whole has really struggled from beyond the arc, but Hyman wasted no time scoring that last bucket.
Teisha is into double figures with 10 now, teaming up with Dyaisha Fair. The pair is combined for 33.
Call them the dynamic duo. They're just so good.
King feeds for Sullivan, and she finishes. Wow, how about that from the freshman?
It's a perfect play, too, because you're driving inside, you're taking a double team and dumping it off.
Fair can't finish on a floater, and that ends the third quarter. Syracuse continuing the offense it found in the second quarter. The Orange dominating offensively, courtesy of Dyaisha Fair, who's got a new season high with 23, and Teisha Hyman, who has 10 in this contest. Fourth quarter coming up. The Orange up 12. Well, the Dyaisha Fair fan club certainly been treated to a movie thus far. The Rochester native has 23 of Syracuse's 48 points as the Orange take a dozen-point lead into the fourth quarter. So the Orange perhaps well on their way to win number 5 this season after a tough bounce against Penn State earlier this week. Here's what's coming up for the Cuse. The Big Ten ACC Challenge on Wednesday next week against Purdue. Then a couple more non-conference clashes before the Orange open up ACC play against Wake Forest.
Syracuse, their schedule doesn't get any easier, and that's the thing that scheduling-wise, Syracuse wanted to go into ACC play with a lot of tough opponents so that they would get ready for such a tough time against really good matchups in the ACC.
Well, the appetizer to the Big Ten ACC Challenge didn't go so well. That loss to Penn State on Monday, but Syracuse done a great job to rebound here on Friday night. Fair into the lane, tough shot. No, but we'll go to the line for 2 more. She's called her own number at times and simply said, hey, you can't guard me. If I don't score, I'm at least going to get to the free throw line. You can't do anything about it.
Well, it's been 1 on 5, mostly in that second quarter, a little bit in the third, late there. She didn't score for the first about 8 minutes in that third quarter. But really, she's so good that she doesn't have to run through anyone else. She can just take the offense by storm, pull up, jump shot, three-pointer. She's lethal from any spot on the court. Maybe not half court, but basically everywhere else besides that.
Fair's first trip to the free throw line hits the first. 74% shooter on the season. Was the first player to sign to a Division I school from Edison Tech for high school since 1998. And has played over 3 years of great basketball. She gets a steal there and gets SU another chance in the offensive end. She does not rest for anything.
She came into this game with more steals than turnovers, which just goes to show you that she's defensive-minded and always is thinking of that steal.
Skip past Georgia Woolley from the wing. Count it! First points of the night for Georgia Woolley. And it's all Syracuse on Black Friday.
That's the Georgia Woolley Syracuse knows and loves. Her ability to spot up, shoot those three-pointers. It's why she was greatly missed against Penn State.
Sisselman short on a response tray. Still hasn't hit one from beyond the arc. Hyman runs into Collins. Hands the keys to McEvans. And she scores. Nice bucket by the Buffalo transfer. Her first field goal of the contest. And the Cuse up 19.
That was a beautiful shot, too. Inside, into the lane, turnaround, really quick spot-up jumper, and cashes home.
McEvans, somebody that Felicia Leggett-Jack calls a silent assassin. Ty Johnson, swatted, but does draw contact. And you do not want to drive into the lane when Dariauna Lewis is sitting there. She's a terror.
She already has 2 emphatic dunk blocks in this one, and this could have been number 3 right here as you take another look at it. Gets the ball, maybe a little contact there as we take a second look, comes through, gets the arm a little bit, and that's why Matthews will go to the line. Pardon, Johnson.
That was Ty Johnson, 5'8" against Dariauna Lewis, 6'1".
It's just a little bit of a size difference in that matchup.
A little bit. Hey, but ball don't lie. She gets to the free throw line and hits both. So 2 points for Johnson, the senior from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, about 23 minutes north of Pittsburgh. But still a big lead for Syracuse. Teisha Hyman, Dyaisha Fair had a lot to do with that. 35 points between the 2 guards.
And Syracuse is enjoying the fact that compared to the production in the second half against Penn State, it's not slowing down here against Bucknell.
Fight for the rebound. Syracuse wins again. And Hyman draws a foul. The energy been relentless today. And that's great to see from Syracuse because what happened on Monday night was so deflating. You come out in the first quarter, seemingly can't miss a shot against Penn State, then just pretty much collapse in the second half. It's tough to come back on a Friday after Thanksgiving and put up this kind of performance, but the Cuse has.
It's a mental game, too. It's all about how you think about it.
Lewis staying busy offensively, headed back to the free throw line for a couple of shots.
Just love the aggressiveness from her right now. Syracuse is finding ways to get her the basketball, and she's taking full advantage. Even when she's missing close inside, she's finding a way to get to the free throw line.
6 points and 6 boards for Dariauna. He's got 3 double-doubles this season. Can't connect on the first free throw. Player that set Omaha North High School records for points per game, career points, rebounds, and field goals. Omaha native. Hits the second.
Didn't shoot any free throws in that game against Penn State either, and that was a big reason for their loss, too. You want to get her at the charity stripe because it means she's active down low.
Bucknell needs offense and need it quickly. Sisselman matched up with Fair. Sullivan's open. She's replaced Emma Schaefer at the 5 in this contest today. Short time for the Bison. Skip pass, that's not getting through. The Orange clogging up the passing lanes.
And you said it right there. They've done a great job of sinking to the basketball, not allowing anything inside.
Nifty feed. Lewis drives, but can't finish. And Georgia Woolley teed up with another foul.
Unfortunate for Syracuse because that could have been one of the nicest plays of the day. That behind-the-back, no-look pass from Dyaisha Fair. Couldn't finish it, but a good start to that offense.
She's just a walking highlight reel. Like, everything she does is grade A. Passing, shooting, dribbling, defending. She can do everything.
There's nothing that's left off that resume when it comes to her basketball skills, her hard work, and her determination every time she steps on the hardwood.
Collins stops. Quick pass to Sisselman, and she still cannot hit. Remy Sisselman, 0 for 9 from 3 tonight.
That's one of the big reasons Coach kept her out of that starting lineup those first 3 games is because she was cold. She got really hot in those last 2 against Iona and Cornell, but now she's cooling off again. And hopefully in the next game out for Bucknell, she can get back to her ways.
Hyman slashes in and scores. Fair to Hyman, that's a lethal connection, and it won't be the last time you hear it this season.
How do you score without the basketball? You make backdoor cuts. You slash the baseline. A fantastic job of moving without the ball in her hands. Good eyes from Fair to find Hyman down low.
Well, you talked about it earlier. It's got to be tough for Hyman, who was the go-to scorer last year for Syracuse, to kind of have her role usurped by Fair. Now those two working hand in hand and doing so beautifully. Fair steps back, just misses. Offensive rebound, McEvans, and Lewis pays it off. Second chance points for Syracuse, and a 22-point lead for the Orange.
That was spicy, too. That was a great job crashing in from McEvans. Little under the arm pass action down low, and a great finish from the Orange.
Coach Woodruff spends a timeout. A disappointing start to the fourth quarter for Bucknell. Meanwhile, a party for Syracuse. The Orange dominating in quarter 2, quarter 3, now quarter 4. A 22-point lead for the Cuse. Teisha Hyman and company have a lot to do with that. Back up to this. Syracuse from Monday night. The Orange really struggled in the second half against Penn State. Not the case tonight against Bucknell. The Cuse up 22 on the Bison. And, you know, the first half was all about Dyaisha Fair, but Teisha Hyman said, hey, I got to get involved in this party as well. She's really picked up her level of play in the second half.
She easily could have let Fair just continue to work on that offensive end, but a great job from Teisha Hyman staying aggressive on the offensive side. Her bread and butter is that jump shot, but she's made cuts, gotten open without the basketball, and that's why she's in double figures.
Sullivan scores out of the timeout for Bucknell. The Bison need a little more of that here down the stretch.
Great floater, too. Good job inside. The freshman playing like a veteran right now down low.
Woolley puts on the brakes. Lewis, spot-up jumper. Not enough. Rims out, defensive rebound, King.
20-point deficit here. Bucknell really has to push the pace. It hasn't been the three-point shots. Drive inside, try to drive and get those fouls.
Collins banks it in. Cecilia Collins up to 18 points for Bucknell. While the Bison have struggled as a team, the point guard certainly hasn't. Hyman, off balance, Jay. Yeah. Teisha Hyman. It's Teisha time.
Yeah, is right. She continues to cook on offense here. Takes the contact. Look at the one leg here and finish. That is why she's such a dominant scorer for the Orange.
Well, she knew that was going in before she even shot it. And we'll step aside momentarily. Syracuse all over Bucknell, up 20.
At Bombas, we make the comfiest socks, underwear, and...
Well, tonight hasn't exactly gone as planned for Bucknell. The Bison trail Syracuse by 20 points, but Cecilia Collins been very good for this Bucknell squad. 18 points leading the team, and it's really been incredible to see her grow so far this year. Kind of got to learn under Taylor O'Brien last year, who was Bucknell's leading scorer one season ago under Trevor Woodruff. She averaged 17 points per game. She decided to grad transfer to Florida State, so now it's been Collins' job to take over as that lead scorer and as the leader as just a sophomore. So while tonight might be disappointing, certainly a bright spot for the Bison.
She's innovative with the basketball too, John. She finds creative ways to score without shooting from the three-point line. She's 0 for 4, so she makes an in-game adjustment of, okay, I have to change my game and still be lethal, and that's why she has 18.
Also 6 for 7 from the free throw line, but the story of tonight, the struggles from the three-point line for Bucknell. Another miss, and now a 2 for 20 showing for the Bison. McEvans, feed underneath to Elena Rice, and she draws contact on the way up.
Syracuse just does a really good job of second chance opportunities. No one's getting back in transition once the shot is put up. They're finding bodies, trying to box out, staying underneath the rim, and allowing chances like Rice to come to the free throw line because they're active on offense.
Rice, an 80% free throw shooter, hits the first, now 9 for 11 on the year. Someone that we thought could emerge as a third scorer for this team, had 16 points and 6 boards against Colgate, which led the team, but since it's been pretty quiet.
She's bounced around too. First year at Florida A&M, then Auburn a season ago, and Syracuse last year. I think she's really finding her groove here with Syracuse, and the point production will go up as the season continues.
Former Rookie of the Year in the MEAC Conference with Florida A&M. Now shooting up for the Cuse. Collins picks up her dribble, 10 seconds on the shot clock. The Bison working it around the horn. Now it's with Caroline Dingler. First time we're calling her name. Back out to Collins. Stops, finds Sullivan, and she airballs. The Orange running the floor. Kyra Wood can't finish on the other end. A good look for the Temple transfer. Now the Bison with numbers. Dingler, scoop pass to Sullivan. Another miss. Offensive rebound for Bucknell.
Syracuse struggled with this early in the season, finishing near the rim. Sullivan's had a few good looks at the basket, but just hasn't finished with some great feeds from her teammates.
King drives, thought about a mid-range jumper, instead hands the keys to Sullivan, and she finishes. While Emma Schaefer has really struggled tonight, Grace Sullivan's been spectacular.
She's picked up the slack. She has 8 points. She's done really good down low and just stayed ready to get the basketball.
Rice off with a 3. Sullivan, all-state honoree, and set the Carmel Catholic High School record for points, rebounds, and blocks, located in Illinois. Nice crossover dribble by Reinview, and she draws contact. So Kaylee Reinview to the free throw line, the junior forward out of Wheeling, West Virginia. Her first chance for points.
And first chance at the free throw line all season. She has yet to shoot a pair at the charity stripe, so it should be interesting to see how they fall for the junior.
Thought we would see more of her, along with Blake Matthews, true freshman point guard for Bucknell. Reinview typically plays 13 minutes per game. In this contest has seen just 7.
Well, for Blake Matthews, I think one of the reasons why she hasn't played as much is after that unbelievable block from Dariauna Lewis. I think a little bit of her morale went away. That was a big-time block, but checking back in here, she's someone who can certainly score at will for the Bison.
5 points in her last game against Dyaisha, which marked the season high. Reinbeer good on both free throws, so the lead now 19 for Syracuse. The Orange emptying the bench a little bit. Kennedy Perkins into the contest for the Orange, along with Nia Wilson and Sanaya Wilson. Woolley, mid-range jumper, leaves it short. Defensive rebound, Dingler, one of the team captains for this Bucknell squad. Another player that didn't play much tonight, averages 16 minutes per contest and really getting her first action here late.
Doesn't play too much for the Bison, but she's such a vocal leader and someone that also leads by example, and that's why Coach Woodruff said that she's one of the captains on this team, because she does an instrumental job of leading this entire team to success both on and off the court.
Bucknell's really just rotated its lineup so much this season as Matthews turns it over, trying to find that starting five and really that rotation that can score points. Because I mentioned this earlier, last year Bucknell put up 75 points in 28 games. They won 23 of those. They've yet to even put up 70 this year, and it's because there's been such a lack of offense.
Well, you have to find that chemistry, right? You need to make sure the players on the floor can score at will. The first 3 games, you weren't even getting over that hump of 50 points in a game. It's just been the last 2, and that's why you've seen 10 different players get the starting spot nod from Coach Woodruff. And so I think you're seeing a better production. They're at 46 right now. Will most likely graze past that 50 here, but it has been a struggle early in this season.
Coach Woodruff still seeking that consistent starting five that can be good on both ends of the floor. No answer off the bench there. First shot for Emma Theodorson off the pine. Cheyenne McGivens leading the offense for Syracuse.
She's been great tonight. She's crashed the boards. She's been active inside. She's one of the best bench players for the Orange.
Detroit native, former MAC All-Freshman team honoree a couple seasons ago. And Sullivan pokes a pass out of bounds.
Even though Syracuse only had 6 bench points, it's because they only played 3 players off the bench against Penn State. You're seeing players like Perkins out there, Nia Wilson. Those players out there can really score along with Sanaya Wilson, too. It's some great depth chart for the Orange.
Evans with a strong take, can't finish, and a travel. Well, Caroline Dingler put a lot of effort in to get that rebound, but had her feet taken out from under her. And it's Syracuse basketball.
Syracuse just circled the ball, didn't give her any space to move, and tripped over her feet a little bit and fell to the ground.
The Orange up 19, minute and a half to go. On their way to a 5-0 perfect home record this season, but the struggles so far have really come on the road in the one game we've seen away from the JMA Wireless Dome.
But everything has been clicking here at home, and that's why Syracuse most likely on their way to their 5th victory of the season.
The Orange next in action in West Lafayette on the road against Purdue in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Should be a good litmus test to see where exactly the Orange are at. But in the meantime, putting the final touches on Bucknell. Kick out Matthews, 3 on the way, leaves it short. That's been the story all night for Bucknell. 2 for 21 from beyond the arc. Uncharacteristic for a team that typically shoots 32%. Tonight, just 10. And that's why the Orange lead by 19 and are emptying the bench.
One thing that Coach Woodruff and this entire staff is going to look back at after this game from the film is going to be that lack of production from the three-point line. If they make a few more of those shots in that second, third quarter, we would see a much tighter ball game, but because they just have not fallen time in and time out again, that's why the Orange have such a bolsterous lead here in the fourth.
Perkins fakes, can't finish, rims out. Theodorson leading the offense for the Bison, former NJCAA Freshman of the Year, scored 21 points per game before coming to Bucknell. Blake Matthews, the point guard, concocting the offensive play. Over to Theodorson, and she finishes.
She's really good inside the lane, too. It's one player that Coach Woodruff said she's got a lot of potential, and as long as she gets some good minutes in there, she can really find her move.
Lexi McNabb into the contest for Syracuse, finds Kyra Wood, and the toilet bowl doesn't fall.
Just unlucky there.
Matthews from half court. Oh, almost went. But that ends a big bounce-back performance from Syracuse on Black Friday. The Orange take care of business against Bucknell. 65-48 the final score. The Orange improved to 5-1, 5-0 at home in a game where there was one lead change. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. For Luke Schwartz, our producer, Kristen Hennessy, our statistician, Ian Nicholas, I'm John Eads saying so long from the JMA Wireless Dome. The Orange advanced to 5-1 with a big-time bounce-back win against Bucknell, and now set their sights on Purdue next week. Happy holidays. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great night.